Hi everybody, my name is Rushton and the Affirm online module that I did was naturalistic intervention. This is an awesome practice that includes environmental arrangement, interaction techniques, and a lot of strategies based on ABA therapy. So let's dive in. First, we're going to talk about what is naturalistic intervention, features of the intervention and what to do before you begin, how to plan for, use, and monitor the practice of naturalistic intervention. I'm going to show you a video example being used in a speech setting. And finally, we're going to play a fun Jeopardy game to test your knowledge and skills on naturalistic intervention. So let's go ahead and talk about what naturalistic intervention is. So naturalistic intervention, rooted in behaviorism, is a naturalistic use of intervention using those principles of ABA, like I said, during the learner's everyday activities in order to increase a desired behavior or decrease an undesired behavior. So it's an evidence-based practice. So in order to meet an evidence-based practice criteria, you've got to do at least 10 single case design studies. So in 2014, the EBP, which is Evidence-Based Practice Report, detailed how naturalistic intervention can be used effectively to address social communication, joint attention, behavior, and academic outcomes. So who can use natural intervention? NI can be used by a variety of professionals, including teachers, special educators, therapists, paraprofessionals, and early interventionists in educational and community-based environments. Parents and family members can also use NI in their home. So why use natural intervention? So if you look over here to my right, there is an awesome professional's guide to show you tips, the outcomes, why to use it, just everyday information on how to really become a professional and use this intervention appropriately. The most important things to know is that you need to establish a goal and an outcome that clearly states when this behavior will occur and what that target skill is and how the team will know when it's mastered. We also, before getting involved, need to develop an evidence-based practice that is going to help the learner learn the skill and be reinforced to keep on giving that desired behavior, goal, or communication skill. So once again, we've got another awesome evidence-based practice handout right here, and also making sure that you identify those evidence-based practices. So if you look down here, we've got early intervention all the way up to high school age, which it can focus on social communication skills, academic skills, communication, joint attention, behavior, play, and academics. So there's tons of intervention skills that can be utilized using this process. So for time's sake, we're going to roll on through how to use steps in intervention. So the most important steps, if you'll look over to your right, is you got to plan for it. So that is prep work, using your team to determine what's going to happen, deciding which evidence-based practice you're going to use, how NI will be implemented, and what the data will be that is collected. Then you're going to use it. You're actually going to either encourage play, use it during just your natural day where it's an activity. Maybe you're trying to teach something, you want them to learn. So how are you going to use reinforcers? Make sure the learner is engaged and attending. And how are they responding to the natural occurring reinforcement? And obviously, after you do all that, you're going to monitor it. You're going to go over your data. You're going to see what worked and didn't work. So let's go through it all together, step by step. So first, step one, planning. So the most important thing to remember is you need to identify the routines and activities to target selected behavior. Step two, you need to determine naturally occurring reinforcers during those routines. So ensure that they are naturally occurring and the learner is part of it. Yeah, it's really great to make sure your learner is kind of in charge while we imitate them and naturally pick out things that we want to address or correct. Collect baseline data, obviously important. We always need to collect data, and selecting that evidence-based practice, which is going to work best for that target behavior. Then you need to develop an implementation plan and make sure your staff, the providers, your family members, everybody is trained to properly do it. Now, you don't need to have a certification for this, but you do need to make sure that all of your team is on the same page when making sure to reinforce behaviors, as we want reinforcement to always be consistent. So step 2, while we're using, this section describes the process of implementing. And you guys can go back through this slide to kind of dive in. I realize that the Screencast-O-Matic only has a 15-minute time limit, so we're going to go through it quickly. All right, so here we go. You're going to arrange the environment first and foremost. Make sure that there's nothing distracting and that the learner is engaged. And that is an appropriate environment for what you're trying to get that child to do. You're going to engage the learner. You're going to use appropriate strategies such as imitating the learner and being animated to ensure that the learner is attending to you in the activity. You're going to use, once again, those evidence-based practices that you planned and use them with the strategies that you are going to go with through the learning. And then lastly, provide natural occurring reinforcement as appropriate. So make sure that learner is receiving continuous if they're beginning, maybe mixing it up if they're starting to learn it, and then obviously following the appropriate steps of reinforcement that we've learned in Module 3. And last, in order to make sure that you are effectively giving and doing the best for your child, you're going to collect and analyze data on that target behavior. So look over the data. Figure out what worked, figure out what didn't work, what were the barriers, and then discuss that with your team. So determine the next steps based on that progress. Do you need to switch up some things? Do you need a different evidence-based practice, such as system of least prompts? Did you model it well enough? Do you need to go back and just realize that that's not motivating for your student? So therefore, you need to come up with a better reinforcer. There's a lot of questions you got to ask yourself. So right down here, you can see are some of the questions. I'll give you 3 for example. Is the target behavior well defined? So we always need to make sure that that is a measurable and something that can be changed. We can't just give them a behavior that they don't know how to do and just expect that they're going to do it. Also, are there distractions holding the learner's attention? Is the target behavior appropriate? Those are 3 big considerations that we need to use while monitoring and making sure we are effectively using naturalistic intervention. So here is a video real quick we will watch of Javier Woody, a speech pathologist who uses naturalistic intervention to work on improving the client's speech and communication. Watch how he uses this natural environment as he plays with his client, and he uses imitation to understand her interests, her motivations, while also trying to reinforce and build on her semantic skills. So I just realized that with Screencast-O-Matic, you cannot hear this audio. So basically what he's doing right now is he is having a discussion with the parent, letting her know that she is not quite on the level of communication that he would like her to be at, and she needs to work on some certain skills. So what he's going to do is he's going to take a client named Violet, and he's going to play with her. And as he's doing that, he's using naturalistic approach, where he's just going to play and he's going to give her choices. He's going to let her start giving him interest, and he's going to start imitating while she speaks. Now, if she says some things inappropriately or incorrectly, he's going to use imitation and be like, oh, red box, do you need this red box? This is not a red box. What is it? And it's going to help her learn that she needs to communicate more effectively and she needs to work on that. So I'll scroll to where you can see them playing. So notice first he has a book and he's just imitating her and asking her questions, getting her to work on those semantic skills that he desires her to strengthen. So yeah, there she goes, playing. It's just an awesome way to get into the mind of a child and use their everyday surroundings to really encourage those interventions that we can positively impact. Awesome, so perfect right there. We're going to go ahead. So guys, after you are done watching this presentation, I'm going to go ahead and give you directions on how to play my Jeopardy game that I have completed for you guys. So first you're going to go to this Google slide that I have right here for you. It's a link. You can right click it and press go to link or open link. If it's being silly, I have a backup link right here. You can just copy, paste into your URL bar. So you can play it individually, or if you have somebody at home you want to partner with, that's cool. Go ahead and do that. So you're going to go to, this is the first slide you will see, and you will click on any of these boxes, any categories, just like Jeopardy. So what I want you to do, the key is located actually inside of the game. So that's why I love Jeopardy, is because it's going to tell you if you're right or wrong. So on a separate sheet of paper, you're going to answer the question and write the point value right next to it so that you can be in charge of calculating your total. If you get it right, obviously you get the points. If you get it wrong, you need to subtract those points from your beginning total. Every time you are done with the question, you are going to go to the top right corner, and that is the home button. You're going to click it. And if you are, once again, correct, you're going to keep going and see how many points are possible. So continue until all the questions have been answered. Aim for the highest score possible. And like I said, the answer key is in the game. So guys, I'm so excited for you to play this game. Please let me know what you think about it. And I hope you've enjoyed all of this new knowledge on naturalistic intervention. Guys, it was so fun teaching you today. Y'all have a great day. Goodbye.